Welcome back. Today I'm going to walk you through the basics of transforming objects. And today we're going to use the transform tool. And to get to that tool, we're going to go up under edit and we're going to pull down to free transform. And you'll see that the keyboard shortcut for that is Command T on a Mac. And if you want to alter this shape, we can just click right here. We can click on a line, or we can click on the actual square here, and we can alter that shape. Now, if we want to scale this in proportions, so we want to keep the same proportions of this shape, we always have to pull from the corner, and we always have to hold down that shift key. If we do not hold down that shift key, we're going to get it out of proportion, and I'll show you that. So if I come down here and I click, I can change this proportion, and then if you're working on a portrait or a product that you have selected, you're going to get that all out of whack. Okay? And that's the biggest thing that I see students and people do is they click and grab that corner and they drag it and they forget that shift key. So always try to drag with that shift key. And I can't say that enough. And I'll say it again. Shift drag on a corner. Now see, we're not, if I click here and hold down shift in the center, we're still skewing or distorting that shape. It always has to be from a corner. And we're going to hold down shift to keep those proportions. All right, enough said. We can also rotate. So if we hover on the outside of this shape, you'll see it turn into a little curved arrow. So we can click and drag that and rotate that around. Now, if you just want to rotate it a little bit, you'll see up there in that little box, it's going to tell you minus 116.5 degrees. Okay, so just hover out on that corner, and we're going to get it back to uh, 179.84. That's close. If you want it to be exact, and we know that we wanted to rotate that 180 degrees, we can come up here and just type in 180 degrees. And then we know that we're exactly vertical on it. What's this little guy here? This is our pivot point. So when we rotate or scale, we are scaling from that center. If we want to move that, let's say we want to rotate around this corner, so we want this corner to stay still, we can move that pivot point, and now we can rotate our object from that center. And we can click and drag that. We can actually click and drag that to be outside of our box if we want to. And now we can rotate our shape around that pivot point. And once again, I'll come up here and type in 180. Get us back to where we want to be. All right. The other items that we can get to, and I encourage you guys to play around with, is to always right click and see what you can come up with on your tool. Okay, so when we're working with the free transform tool, if we right click on that object, we can rotate it. Rotate clockwise, rotate counterclockwise. Won't be able to see, we can flip vertical or flip horizontal, which we didn't see because it's kind of a square. and we can scale. We can rotate, and we can skew. So when we choose that skew button, now when we click on one of these points, it's going to allow us to change that shape from any one of these points. So if you want to really edit your shape, we're going to skew. If we right click in here, we can distort. Okay. And if we right click, we can actually change the perspective of our shape just by clicking on a corner and dragging. So that's changing perspective. And the last thing that you're going to want to do on some of your shapes is to warp a shape. And when we warp the shape, basically Photoshop fills in with this grid, and now we can click. It kind of gives us these handles, and we can choose to warp our shape however we want to. And we don't have to click on just these handles. We can click on a corner, or we can actually just click inside of our shape and distort that way. And the way to accept your transformation is to simply go up here and click on the check mark. It says commit transform, or we can hit the enter key. I'm used to hitting the enter key. Alright, and then we could Command T again, and if I wanted to scale this down and keep the proportions, I'm going to hold which key? Yes, I heard someone say the shift key. The shift key will constrain those proportions and keep everything accurate. If we don't hold that shift key, we're going to get it to distort even more, and that may not be what we want. All right. We can also, as you see, as we're scaling, we can also scale from the center by holding down the Option key. If we don't hold down Option, it wants to scale from that opposite corner that you click on. But by holding down Option, I can scale and kind of keep everything centered. All right, I think that's enough for transform. Command T is the keyboard shortcut, and if you want to get out of a transform and you've made some changes, you don't like it, just hit the escape key and you'll go back to where you were before you went into transform. So try it, get used to it, you're going to use it, and I'll see you in the next video.